There's a myth going around that Finland is somehow a socialist country. And what I'm going to do in a series of videos is just try to give you the lowdown and dispel some of those myths. So one thing about socialists, same as fascists, is that they believe in collectivism. Fascism and socialism, they're both collectivist ideologies. And that ideology kind of puts forward the idea that individuals don't matter and they must sacrifice themselves and for the will, the collective will of the state. What's best for the government, what's best for the whole country. That's the way that it's portrayed. So that was the approach taken to recycling in Britain. There was very few incentives for people to recycle. In fact, in where I used to live in Guildford, if you wanted to recycle your garden waste, it actually cost you money. And the approach was pretty ineffective. Not even the council was that bothered in recycling. They had schemes, but then all the plastic bottles and stuff and paper allegedly got just taken by boat over to India and dumped over there. So, you know, the recycling based on collectivism with no incentives, with just an emphasis on public duty. You know, you must recycle because you must be a good citizen. It doesn't work because people respond to incentives. So over here in Finland, it's completely different. Recycling is it's got nothing to do with the government at all. A few years back, the major soft drinks and breweries decided to set up their own recycling scheme with the major supermarkets as a joint venture. They set up a separate company that they all collectively own, and they incentivize people to do recycling by paying them to do it. So you'll see really cool things like music festivals in the summer, you know, maybe in a park. In Britain, the park would be an absolute disgrace, you know, there'd be loads and loads of litter left. Over here in Finland, you won't see empty tin cans or bottles lying around very often because teenagers will go and recycle them and, you know, get money for doing it. And the crucial point to, there's two crucial points really to put across here. Point one is that it's no government involvement, no subsidies, nothing like that. This is entirely private. And then the second one is that public spaces here are really, really clean and well kept, and people do their recycling, not because, you know, they kind of are all Greta Thunberg fans and they're all left-wing socialists. They just do it because there's a financial interest to do it. You know, you can get, you know, you'll see in a minute, I've got 2 smallish bags of recycling, and I'll probably be able to buy a couple of beers to drink later on free of charge as a result of doing that recycling. So yeah, incentives matter. People respond to incentives. And this is what statists don't understand. You know, the kind of statist model of fascist collectivism or socialist collectivism, it doesn't work because there's no incentives there. The only incentive is, you know, the fear of, it's a negative one, isn't it? Fear of not doing something, being ostracized or maybe locked up. Positive incentives work much better. So here's my bottles here, bottles and cans. I think the cans you get 15 cents, the big bottles might be 25 cents. So there's various bits and pieces, two bags of bottles, not that much. So I've just arrived at the supermarket, it's my local K market to do, this is where the machine is for the recycling. K market is one of the biggest supermarket chains in Finland. And this one, it's like the equivalent of a Tesco Metro, so it's only got 1K. I laugh because and some of the big ones is like a 3K, and the first time I saw it I just thought it was hilarious, you know, KKK. In woke UK, that place would be just shut down in half a nanosecond by the wokesters. Okay, so this is the machine in question. What you do is you press the green button here, and then it susses out what type of thing it is you want to recycle, whether it's a tin can, a glass bottle, etc. There's about 20 odd of these to do, so I'll pause it from here. So what do you get in return for doing your recycling? €4. So let's see what I can buy with that, reinvest it. So back home now with the recycling prizes. This blue one is a locally produced Munich style lager, weighing in at 5%, probably a bit similar to Paulaner, something like that. Very, very tasty. You've had that one before. And this one is a supermarket own label, believe it or not, but the actual producer's brand name is Stallenhagen. And I think they, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but they're located in Ahvenanmaa, which is this island in between Finland and Sweden. And this is a IPA, again weighing in at 5%. So two really nice beers there. So to summarise, I think the big takeaway from this is that Finland operates a free market approach towards recycling, at least when it comes to tin cans, plastic bottles and glass bottles. It's an entirely private scheme. The government doesn't support it in any way whatsoever. And I think what this shows is that the sort of socialists have got it wrong. You don't need people to be self-sacrificing and altruistic in order for them to do the right thing. In this case, everyone's benefited. It's a classic example of what economists would call voluntary mutually beneficial exchange. No one forced me to go and take my empties to the supermarket. I did so out of self-interest, in that I could get some free beer for doing it. No one forced the brewers to adopt the scheme. The government hasn't forced them to do it. They've done it out of self-interest, because for them, the value of the metal and plastic and glass that they're able to recycle is presumably worth more to them than what they pay me in terms of the money off the beers and other stuff that I could have bought. And then finally, the supermarkets, no one's compelling them to do it either. It's, again, they must have a stake in this joint venture and are benefiting financially. So they're providing the technology to do all of this without the government having to arm twist them. So, I think the other thing to say about this is that incentives matter. And the free market will do it automatically. There's no need for nudge units. So, my question is, why isn't this happening in Britain? And I can only sort of think of two possibilities. One is that the state has just destroyed entrepreneurial energy. As a former teacher, I can definitely see how that's happening. I worked at a private school, my last job, and there was a lot of anti-capitalist propaganda being pumped out constantly to the students. They were encouraged to go into professions, and profit was a dirty word, and mutually beneficial exchange wasn't what what real ladies do. It was a bit demeaning, a bit lower class. And the other possibility is that the taxation system in the UK doesn't allow it. It's not profitable once the taxes have been paid, or maybe there's regulations that are preventing it. And what I would say here, again, going back to the title of this video, Finland isn't socialist, is that this is what surprised me a lot here, is that and Finns won't believe it either until they go and live in the UK, that regulation over here in Finland is a lot more relaxed than it is in the UK. So it's easier for people to be entrepreneurial and set new things up. Okay, I'll put these in the fridge and I'll enjoy these later. So God bless.